All right, Phoenix Suns fans. Game 2 is in the books. The Phoenix Suns are done in Minnesota, at least for now. And they lose. They lose 105-93. We're back. We're your Rally Boys. Be sure to hit that like button and subscribe because we have a lot to talk about.
Personally, I feel like that brother needed help.
Devin Booker with the clutch three.
Oh boy. The Phoenix Suns are now down 0-2. They went to Minnesota. They lost both games. After winning the season series 3 to 0, they found a way to go to Minnesota and go down 0-2. This is disappointing. I will say I had expected to leave Minnesota with the 1-1 series tie. So obviously being 0-2 is one game off, but I have a lot to say. By the way, I haven't been on the show and I missed the season finale against the Timberwolves, and then I missed game 1 of this series. But I obviously got some frustrations, some disappointments. Ashton, what's your initial reaction to the Suns dropping another game and being down 0-2?
I mean, I have it in the background here. Suns meltdown. I think this is a Suns meltdown case. Holy crap. I mean, I'm just disappointed, really. Like my first base reaction after this, how I'm feeling after the game, after this loss, it's just disappointment. I mean, right, I've watched the whole team the whole season, so I should have come to expect this. But I mean, that's what the Suns do. They give you hope and they take it away. The Suns give it and they take it away.
I think you bring up a good point. I think if you've been watching this team all season long, you can be disappointed with what this team is doing right now in these first 2 games. But like I said, if you've been watching this team all season long, what you've seen in these past 2 games is not surprising because they've done it all season long. The carelessness when it comes to defense, or turnovers, the lack of creativity when it comes to their offense, the lack of accountability when it comes to their players, the lack of leadership from their head coach, Frank Vogel. I mean, I'm sitting there watching this collapse in the fourth quarter and just seeing the Timberwolves go off. But I also, hold up, before I get into this, I do want to say we're down 0-2. It's not the end of the world. The season's not over yet. I mean, we were down 0-2 against Denver last year in the semi-conference finals. We were able to take it back home and tie the series 2-2. So do I think it's possible? Absolutely. I'm going to look at this Phoenix Suns team, look at the talent they have. I know they can come back and win this series. I know they are capable of doing that. But a lot of things need to start happening, and I just don't think I've seen enough in the first 2 games to have enough confidence to say, yeah, this team's going to win 4 games when they've struggled so much to at least get 1 game. But I really think it's an uphill battle for this team. I mean, it's one thing to try to beat a very talented Minnesota Timberwolves team, but it seems like they're just battling themselves out there, not just the turnovers, but like mentally. There's some sort of mental block with this team right now that's affecting the way that they play. They're not coming out with the same physicality. They're not coming out with the same aggressiveness. They're missing shots that they usually make, and it's hurting them to get the game started. But like, this it's just such a terrible opportunity to waste too. And I knew it was going to be a tough game after that first half. I mean, Anthony Edwards and Karl-Anthony Towns only combined for 7 points in that first half. And Karl-Anthony Towns sat out most of that first half with 3 fouls. If you tell me that that's the situation with those 2 players at halftime, you should be up at least 10 points. But it was only a 1-point lead. It's because this Phoenix Suns team turned the ball over and over and over and over again. And someone just doesn't want to step up and do the dirty work. Bradley Beal has done it for the past couple of weeks leading up to the end of the season, but I mean, it seems like he just doesn't want to do it anymore. And I don't blame him. I think there's a lack of accountability with these players, and Frank Vogel is not helping the case at all. He played the worst rotations that you possibly could have in game 2. I mean, you have 82 games in the regular season to figure out who your best players are and what's your best option going into a playoff game. And he has played the worst possible outcome of that lineup. And that's what I was worried about. He has not, and that's what I mean by this team battling uphill to try to get a win. They're trying to win, play their best basketball, but with the worst set of players out there. And I mean, it's funny because Drew Eubanks should not see any playoff minutes. We all knew that. He is terrible. He should not see any, not because I think he shouldn't belong in the NBA or anything, but he just doesn't mix well with this team. What this team needs is not what Drew Eubanks supplies. So why is he still coming off the bench and providing those minutes? And it's so funny, the regular season, every Phoenix Suns fan can tell you, Drew Eubanks should not see playoff minutes, and Bol should see all the playoff minutes. And to start the playoffs, it has been the complete opposite. Drew Eubanks has been given all the playoff minutes, and Bol finally saw the floor, thank God, to a blowout in the end of this game. I'm almost kind of on the verge of wanting to see this team swept so we can just know that Frank Vogel will be gone the day after that they get swept. It's awful that you do this to your team, and you can tell these players are frustrated by it. I expect the Suns to win at least one of these games. I hope it's game 3 because I expect to see Thaddeus Young in the lineup. I expect to see Bol in the lineup. I do not expect to see Drew Eubanks. If you see Drew Eubanks on that floor anytime, this team's going to lose. Just the mental handicap that Drew Eubanks adds to this team when he's on the floor. The team doesn't want to play with him. The team knows how bad they are with him. And again, that's no offense to Drew Eubanks. He just doesn't fit this team. And Frank Vogel has been trying so hard to get him to fit this team. And it just has not worked all regular season. And it has not worked these last 2 games. That's all I got to say for now. What do you have to say to all of
that? I think it's kind of funny that you say all this right after Eubanks had a decent game today. I mean, he had 8 points. He had some great dunks. He played fine for he was complacent for most of this game. Suns got a lot of problems, but Eubanks was not one today in my mind. Yeah. I mean, we just need to find a spark. The game, credit to the Suns, as much as a collapse today was, it was slightly better than game 1. All right. Game 1, Anthony Edwards went off on us. This game, he was 3 of 12. He had 15 points. Most of that was from free throws. And I'd say only 2 of those shots were pretty hard shots. The ISO with KD and then the transition 3. So we did a pretty good job of limiting Anthony Edwards for this game. And for the most part, Cat wasn't much of a problem either until start of the half. And this just goes right back to the point of Suns just beating themselves with fouls and turnovers every time. Stop.
Yeah, it's I mean, you look at these 2 games, I mean, you lose by 25 game 1 and then you lose by 12 in game 2. But the common denominator there is the first game you scored 95 points and the second game you scored 93 points. There's obviously an offensive struggle here. coincidentally, it's after Kevin Young got his head coaching job at BYU. But also, I mean, it's the same story that we talked about all regular season. This team struggles finding creative ways to get Bradley Beal, Kevin Durant, and Devin Booker points consistently, and that shouldn't be your main problem. I think defensively, we know that we don't have the right players to be the best defensive team out there, but offensively, there should be no excuse. We should be clearing 100 points every single night. There's no doubt about it with the players that I just mentioned, and with the bench that we have with Eric Gordon, Royce O'Neal, Bol. There's just no excuse to score less than 100 points tonight. And, they've done it in the past 2 games, and, they tightened it up on defense a little bit, but just not enough. And I think it doesn't get any easier, even though you're going back home to Phoenix, because now you're probably going to be without Grayson Allen indefinitely, out with an ankle injury. And I have a nitpick. I have a pet peeve. I hate, and it's the same thing with the NFL, but I hate when things happen in terms of contract extensions, in terms of head coaching moves, in terms of hirings and all that kind of stuff. I hate when that happens during the playoffs. Like, let's wait after the playoffs. I know for a lot of teams that the offseason starts because they haven't made the playoffs, but let's wait after the playoffs, because it was exciting to see Grayson Allen get his extension, but I don't want to hear about it in the middle of our playoffs. I want this guy focused. Same thing with Kevin Young too. I'm happy for him. Great job. I'm sure he's going to do a good job at BYU, but let's keep the main thing. And it just sucks. Grayson Allen gets a contract extension, and we're probably not going to. I'm predicting we're probably not going to see him for the rest of the series, because that looked pretty bad. That injury looked pretty bad. Yeah, it was pretty rough. But now, Suns fans get what they want. Now Royce O'Neal will be in the starting lineup game 3. And I mean, he has to play pretty well. And maybe that, I don't know, silver lining, does that force Vogel to actually play the lineups that he has to? Because I am telling you, we win at least one of these games. Game 1, they weren't ready. I don't know why they weren't ready, but they weren't ready. Game 2 tonight was possible. They could have absolutely won. But if you play Thaddeus Young, no, hold on. Let me take a step back. You play the same lineup that you did against the Denver Nuggets a couple of weeks ago, you are winning this series. No doubt about it. You're playing Thaddeus Young coming off of the bench. You're playing Bol. You will win this series. You will win some games. There's no doubt in my mind about it. This is an offensive team with offensive players. We need to figure that identity out and run with it and make the Timberwolves stop us. Because obviously it's not working the other way. You need to go out there, put your best offensive players out there, maybe even go small ball. I was kind of wondering why we didn't go small ball in the third or the fourth quarter when we were trying to chip at that 15-point deficit, because the game was over by then. It's like, let's just put anyone out there. Let's try to get a spark of any kind going into game 3. And I feel weirdly confident about game 3. I hate that, but I feel pretty good about game 3. Game 4 is going to be the big one. But I mean, if we go out there and we lose game 3, this series is over and we're getting swept.
That's tough. I have mixed feelings about game 3. I am undetermined as of right now. I felt really confident about this game. I mean, yeah, exactly what you said. Game 1, that game was over by quarter 3. When Anthony Edwards started to go off on us, that game was over in the third quarter. This game, it was still undecided in going into the fourth. And that's a minor improvement.
Mm-hmm.
So hopefully Phoenix shows up to the Valley. This is a call. We need to I unplugged my headphones. We need to rally the Valley, Get everyone out there. Get your grandma. Get out here. All right. We're storming Footprint Center and we're going to support our team. All right. Because here's what annoyed me. Right. Anthony Edwards, right, didn't have the best game, but he got so much hype, so much energy from the crowd when he was ISOing KD. Everyone was going crazy. And
Yeah.
he made the shots. He made a tough shot. We
Yeah.
need that exact energy going into game 3.
You're right. I mean, I completely agree. Hats off to the Minnesota crowd. I mean, they came ready. Phoenix, it's going to be hard. I get it. Like, it's going to hard to bring energy, but like, you got to. And obviously the team has to do their part and make it, worthwhile for this team to the fans to cheer for. But yeah, I think game 3, you're either going to get a very valiant effort, or you're going to see this team just completely dismantle and the Wolves are just going to take the 3-0 lead. But I don't want to say that the season's over, because we've been in so many situations before where like 0-2 leads, like, so for like old heads out there, the idea is always obviously to win every single game, but kind of the large landscape plan is to at least get one. You want to at least get one on the road. That's kind of the ultimate. That's kind of the one of the goals there, outside of winning both of the games. But yeah, you didn't. You weren't close in either of them. Now you got to defend home court, and yeah, I mean, part of me wants to see this team continue, but like also I'm just tired. I love the Suns. I want to continue cheering them on if it means going to the finals, but like I'm so tired of this team. I got way before the All-Star break, I stopped being excited about watching this team. I would see on my schedule, I'd be like, oh, game tonight at 6:30. Oh, game tonight at 6:30. It's just like, I don't get excited watching this team anymore. I hate the way they play. They don't have any passion. Devin Booker will always get me excited because he can bring that energy. But Kevin Durant plays defense 75% of the time. And that's okay, right? Because if you're not going to play defense, at least you can be, you can outweigh it and be tremendous in offense. But no, he can't. He needs the world perfect. He needs the ecosystem perfect. He needs the birds fluttering in the air. He needs the water crystal blue. He needs it room temperature for him to make a freaking shot. And Bradley Beal, unfortunately, just doesn't fit this team. He doesn't fit this team. As much as I love Bradley Beal, I don't think he fits this team. This team doesn't fit each other. There's so many different parts that don't fit this team. So on one hand, go Suns, go. Hope you make a run at the finals, but also please get swept so I can stop watching this team and move on with my life. It's like being in a battered relationship. It's just being in a terrible relationship. And you're like, we've been together since high school. We've been together through college. So why not get married? Why not just do the whole thing? But then on the other hand, you're like, if you could just cheat on me, or if you could just if you could just do something to end this relationship, I'd be totally fine with it so that I can move on with my life, because I don't have guts enough to end the relationship. I just need you to.
Are we still talking about basketball here? Or what?
Man, there's so many people in high school I met like that. They just need to end it. They just need to end it. Just move on, man. I don't know. I'm also saying this as a Cowboys fan, so I still haven't recovered from the Cowboys season. And I look towards the Suns, and I'm like, man. And then the Suns are doing it. I'm tired, man. I'm just a tired sports fan, and I'm losing my sanity. And, I'm glad the Lakers are 0-2, but that's not enough to redeem it. I'm just like, who cares? We're 0-2 as well. Maybe if the Mavs go down 0-2 tonight, that'll actually help me.
I actually have the game going on right now, and Mavs are leading at the end of first.
Oh, no. Also, I've betted on these past 2 games and I've gotten screwed both times, and so it's just a bad night, you know? It's been a bad week in terms of sports. It's just God. So looking forward to game 3. That's going to be Friday. So if you didn't have something to look forward to Friday night, well, now you do, and the Suns are probably going to spoil your Friday night.
I mean, a couple little cookie points, maybe brownie points Vogel could do to save his job here is just play Bobo. Especially at a home game in a playoff game. He's going to do something. Everyone's going to love that.
It's hard. I mean, if you're Matt Ishbia, you're watching this team, I think it's not hard to figure out this team. You play to their strengths. You don't try to make them whatever they're trying to. You don't try to make them something else, especially this late in the season. What you see is what you're going to get. So it's hilarious how we're going down swinging with Drew Eubanks, and we're not actually going out there and putting out our best players that have just been tremendous all season long. And I feel for Bobo. Yeah, I mean, if we get swept, I'm fine moving on. You know, I'm fine moving on, breaking loose from Bradley, breaking loose from KD. Love Book, but if he wants to demand a trade and move elsewhere and actually have a legitimate chance at winning a championship with another team, by all means, you have my blessing, Devin Booker. I'm going to follow you. I mean, we got to shine back here for Devin Booker. I love Devin. I'm going to follow you wherever you're going to go. I will plant my flag in Phoenix because that's where I was born and I was raised in the state of Arizona. So, Suns, I will always pin my flag right there. But if Book, you go somewhere else, I'm following, and I'm going to cheer you on. But enough's enough. Enough's enough. You know, he's too great of a player to waste his career and not have a legitimate chance. I mean, this is ridiculous. This is ridiculous. This is ridiculous. We have Bradley Beal, Kevin Durant, and Devin Booker, and we're down 0-2 to the Timberwolves, who are, I would argue, they're not that good. They're good. They're good. Sorry. They're good. They're not great. They're good. They're not great. They're talented. They won a lot of games, but we shouldn't be down 0-2 with them. But yeah, I mean, if the Suns are going to win this series, it's going to be in 7. It's going to have to be in 7.
Really?
No way this.
I predicted Suns in 6, so we would have to win the next 4 games.
Yeah.
3 at home and 1 on away.
Yeah.
That doesn't sound that bad.
Yeah, that's a lot. That's asking a lot.
That's
Thankfully,
3 home
though,
games.
do we play 3 straight home games right now?
No.
Let me see this series.
It's 2 home games and then 1 away and then another home game. And then if it goes to game 7, it's away.
Okay, so it's 2-2, 1-1-1.
Yeah.
That's right. Okay, yeah, I see it here. 2-2, 1-1-1. Okay, I see it.
We believe. We believe.
But we've also been on the other side of this every single time. The Suns have taken 2-0 leads against the Dallas Mavericks a couple years ago. They took a 2-0 lead against, obviously, the Milwaukee Bucks in the finals. Remember how high up we were about that? We were like, man, we got this. We're moving on. What happened in that Mavs series? Mavs 1-7. What happened in that Bucks series? The Bucks 1-6. We have the talent to do both those things. It's just, can they execute and are they willing to do it? That's my challenge to the Suns. They are more than capable of doing it, believe me. But can they just put in the work, put in the right players, stop turning the ball over? God, I think you're in a pretty good situation if that's the case.
So
And also,
well, yeah.
sorry,
finish
go
your
ahead.
thought. No,
I
finish your
don't know
thought.
what I didn't know what I was gonna say.
Okay, never mind. I was just going to cut right to the off season. You think we blow this team up?
If we get swept, yes. If we lose in 5, yes. If we lose just in the first round, yes. You blow this team up. I'm done with KD.
You don't
Maybe
wanna,
keep.
you don't want to run it back next year. Get Chris Paul back on a vet minimum.
I don't know if he would play a whole season. That's the other thing. Obviously, we need a point guard. James Jones was so adamant about not having a point guard. And he went out and got Thaddeus Young, who his head coach doesn't even play. And he went out and got Ish Wainwright. And he went out and got Isaiah Thomas, who those three guys have not. They've seen a combined 0 minutes in this series. So Vogel's the first one to go. And I can't wait for that Simpson mother looking guy to get out of Phoenix. Like, I'm done with him. I'm done with Vogel. He's got a championship. It's time to prove it, man. It's time to prove it. You got a championship. Show us. Prove it. Because you haven't done so playing these lineups. You know Drew Eubanks shouldn't be in this game. Should nowhere be near these games. And he's playing them. He's playing them like he's, oh God. Good thing is, though, this season, and we could be all done with this Sunday. And I look forward to that. But if they win a game, and God forbid they win 2 games, then it's like, okay, it's a 2-2 series now, and now we're in it.
No, we fall back on our morals, and we realize that Suns, like we literally just said it, Suns will pull you back into this. We're gonna win a game, heck, even 2, and it's all gonna come back crashing down.
I had a bad feeling about this. Yeah, I had a bad feeling about this game too. Going into it, I was like, man, I don't. Are you gonna go to one of the 2 games? Do you know yet?
Don't know.
Working on it.
Undecided.
TBD.
Yeah.
You should go to game 4 because they're gonna get swept. So at least be there for the last game of the season.
Why would I want to watch another home blowout? Here's the thing. I went to game 6 of last year's playoff when Suns were down 50 or like 30 at halftime. I saw that. I was in the crowd there that time when we lost to the Nuggets.
I will also take a moment and remind everyone of what Sir Charles Barkley said. And he's right there on my wall right there. They asked Charles Barkley what his thoughts about the Phoenix Suns were. He said this: no, they're not going to figure it out. They don't have mental toughness. The leaders are not leading. You're not going to turn it on this late in the season. They're weak mentally, and it's not going to go good for them. They're just really soft. The players have not led. When he said that, and we talked about it for a little bit when he said it, he was not wrong. But I guess a bit of us just all hoped that he might have been wrong. But Charles Barkley is 100% right about this Phoenix Suns team. Their mental toughness will be put to the test on Friday. You're down 0-2. You're very talented. You're more than capable of at least winning a game at home. Can you do it? Or will you mentally implode on national TV again and go down 3-0 and have it be a season? I honestly can't tell you which one most likely will happen because I can see both of them happening. And that is the life of a Phoenix Suns fan this entire season. We have been on the verge of seeing this team collapse and seeing this team put up some of the best basketball we've seen since the 96 Bulls and the Golden State Warriors that went 73-9 just a few years ago. I hate this team. I hate this team. I hate this team so much. I can't stand them. I want it to be over so bad.
I guess if we are talking about like what figureheads around have said, did you hear what Al McCoy has said about Suns?
Yes. Go ahead and talk about it.
Yes. So, our dear Al McCoy, who retired last season, he had something to say about the Suns after Game 1 loss and I'll try to quote him best as I can here. Can I say just two things to the Suns players this morning? Stop crying. This is the playoffs. This is for the big boys. When you think you fouled, get out there and be aggressive. Let's see some of that aggressiveness. Just stop crying on every call. You're not going to get calls. We know that whole scenario. We are not going to talk about the officiating. Just play as physical as has to be played and stop crying.
Yeah. I love that he said that. I can't agree anymore. And I feel like the only one that kind of took that message to heart, I doubt the players heard it, but he's right. Like playoff basketball is much more physical. You have to set the tone. You have to be willing to go punch for punch. The one person that I actually thought really answered that call and actually showed an improvement from game one is actually Devin Booker. I thought Devin Booker was physical. Obviously got into a little scruffle there in the middle of the game, but that's Devin for you. That's why Phoenix loves him, and because he's always going to bring it. And even with like the performance that he had in game one, obviously disappointing, but like Phoenix knows like he's going to bounce back in some sort of way that's going to help the team, and he did tonight. And he just, obviously didn't get enough support from the two other stars that, combined, all three of them are taking up $129 million. And they combined for some of the worst shooting percentage that we've seen in any playoff series so far. So, yeah, that's this team in a nutshell. Sorry, I lashed out there a little bit.
Maybe Booker was aggressive only for this game because he's in Call of Duty now.
Yeah. Yeah. But obviously the shot selection isn't there. Devin Booker was 5 of 12 tonight. Kevin Durant was 5 of 14. Bradley Beal was 6 of 17. It doesn't get any rougher than that. Unless they implode on Friday.
Unless someone has a rib contusion again.
Which, I mean, Book was dealing. I mean, he came down on his foot weird, but I think you're right. You talked about it a little bit. I mean, this was a 7-point game going into the fourth quarter. This game was within reach, but man, the Timberwolves are just cooking us, man, and just couldn't play any defense. But that's all I got to say about tonight, and I think we'll look forward to game 3 on Friday and see what we make of this team. But for me, I'm not getting my hopes up anymore. They have to, Suns fans, go to sleep well tonight, because not because they lost, but because this is on the Suns team. This is on them. They need to earn their spot in the playoffs. The Indiana Pacers just beat the Milwaukee Bucks. The Pacers have earned their playoff spot. You got to earn your right to be here, and the Suns haven't done that. And until they do, who are we to start cheering for them? Who are we to start hyping them up? Because they haven't done anything to prove that. So this is on them. If they don't, who cares? Who cares, man? If they don't do it, that's on them. That's on their career. That's on their reputation. And they'll forever be known as choke artists. So it's on this Suns team to get the job done. Like McCory said, stop whining. Stop. I'm not going to say the other word, but stop doing that and go out there, play basketball. You're capable of it. But if you don't, it's on you. It's on you.
Wow. You just counteracted my point of bring energy for game 3. What the heck? I still think we got to fight each other. I have been excited for this team. I don't know why I torture myself like this, but I do. And if there's a will, there's a way. I have sat down before each of these 2 games excited, even though I know what could happen. I sit And I ponder. I don't know.
Well, hey, to go along with your sentiments, Devin Booker and Kevin Durant had this to say. Devin Booker on his message to Suns fans, don't count us out. It's a series for a reason. Kevin Durant says, S word, can't give up on us now. So there you go. Which they're completely right. You know, like, and I said it before, series have seen people go down 0-2. Like it's a best of, it's the first 1-4, and the Wolves are halfway there. Does it make it harder? Yes. Statistically, mathematically, yes. But can the Suns go out there and grab 2 at home? Yes. But from what we've seen from this team, they are consistently inconsistent. So it's not over. The series is not over. But that's it. That's all I'll say. That's all I'll say. That's all I'll say.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we will see you Friday, game 3, and we will be here for our post-game reaction. Be sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and unfortunately, go Suns!
Kevin Durant delivers. Gorgeous move for Bradley Beal.
Personally, I feel like that brother needed help.